Let's talk intermittent fasting, specifically 16 to 8 intermittent fasting. Why I do this type of fasting? You'll find out. Stay tuned. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. So I wanted to discuss intermittent fasting, particularly because it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic in the fitness industry, dieting world, whatnot. There's arguments saying that you can't build muscle on it. There's an argument saying that it's not a better way to eat. Deficits are most important. I'm gonna get through a lot of things in this video, but firstly, I wanted to just make sure you know that this is specifically about 16 to 8 intermittent fasting. I do know that there's other methods even, such as the 24, which I've done myself. I've even done 36 hours fast. I've done 72-hour fast. I've done a variety of different fasts, but it's specifically 16 to 8, what I'm following now, primarily because muscle building is my ultimate goal. So you can go after any of those specific fasting or eating windows, time restricted windows as they call them, but specifically this is more for 16 to 8. But I'm gonna give you the benefits of fasting in general throughout this video. I've recently done a video on the 9 common mistakes people make when they fast. You can watch that video by clicking above. So my ultimate goal is to build muscle. I don't want to make this video about me, but I want to kickstart this video off with an amazing study, a study that I really like, purely because most people say that all intermittent fasting studies have been done on rats, mice, whatever. I'm telling you, there are a few really good studies more recently done on humans. This specific one took 2 controlled groups, a controlled group that did not fast and a controlled group that did fast. They both had the same macros, they had the same amount of experience training, and they did the same training during this time. So that just shows you it was a controlled study. 2016 study in the Journal of Translational Medicine, effects of 8 weeks of time-restricted feeding, basically intermittent fasting, 16 to 8, on basal metabolism, maximal strength, body composition, inflammation, and cardiovascular risk factors in resistance-trained males. So they didn't take a tremendous amount of people. They only took 34 resistance-trained males, but they kept all factors the same. And the conclusions, I'll put the full study in the description. I won't go over it in this little snippet. The results suggest that the modified IF employed in the study, so the TRF for the 16-hour fasting and 8-hour feeding, could be beneficial in resistance-trained individuals to improve health-related biomarkers, decrease fat mass, and at least maintain muscle mass. So with 16 to 8 fasting, the most common way to actually do it is to eat from 12 until 8. Some people do from 10 till 6, some people do from 2 until 10. It is up to you the way you do it. It's how it fits around your life, but there are some benefits out of actually starting to eat later in terms of fat loss. So I want to look at this from 2 sides as well. Although I'm focusing a bit more on muscle gain, I want to focus on fat loss as well. So look at it this way. If eating within an 8-hour window helps you get into a deficit, then surely that's a good fat loss tool. I'm not saying it's going to magically help you lose fat, because there's not many things in life that do. Unfortunately, there's no magic pill, period. But if it helps you do that, that's great. And also, if it can help you build muscle as well, at the same time, without walking around with 10 Tupperware containers in your bag, stressing about when you're next going to eat. And also, think about the time prepping all those meals. Wouldn't you rather just have 2 to 3 slightly bigger meals and benefit out of the muscle gain as well? I mean, you can do. This 2017 study was published in the European Journal of Sports Science, and it looked at time-restricted feeding in young men performing resistance training, a randomized controlled trial. So overall, time-restricted feeding reduced energy intake but did not adversely affect lean muscle retention or muscular improvements with short-term resistance training in young men. So let me take someone who wants to lose fat. If you're eating every 2 to 3 hours like a lot of coaches recommend, first of all, you're probably eating about 6 times, maybe 7 times a day, including some snacks. So firstly, you have way more chance of overeating. Secondly, what's happening is you're not digging into your fat stores unless you're in a big deficit, which I'm pretty sure if you're eating 6 to 7 times a day, you're going to struggle to get in that deficit without aggressively calorie counting. And realistically, if you're aggressively calorie counting, how long can you do that for? A few weeks, a few months? It's not a long-term strategy to lose weight. So with intermittent fasting, you're able to dig into the fat stores. You can actually do this more effectively by depleting your carbohydrates further. So what happens is when you're not eating, your body uses up the amount of carbohydrates it has, then it starts to dig into the body fat, so your fat stores. If you do a workout first thing in the morning, if fat loss is your ultimate goal, what will happen is you'll further deplete carbohydrates and you'll lead into those fat stores a lot sooner. Not only that as well, if you have a slightly lower carb diet, I'm not saying go keto, I mean you can if you want, if you do already, great, but you don't have to go keto to experience this. Just slightly lower the amount of carbs, and then what it does is it means that you'll deplete the carbs a lot faster. So what I do particularly is carb backloading. Not many people do this. I find that it's growing a bit in popularity, but not many people do this. I did a video on this a while back. I'm gonna do a more up-to-date video. You can watch that video though by clicking above. I apologize for the quality of the video and the audio. It's terrible. I don't even wanna watch it back. But in the end of the day, the content in the video is actually pretty darn good. If you can hear it, that is. And if you don't cringe too much. But the matter of fact is, you can actually dig into your fat stores by using intermittent fasting. And also, like I said earlier, intermittent fasting can be used to get into a calorie deficit just as well. When it comes to building muscle, you've got to make sure one thing. You've got to make sure you can eat in those 8 hours, eat enough to build muscle. If you can't, I don't suggest doing intermittent fasting.
Forget about it.
To be honest, if anyone's looking to pack on muscle and they've got quite low body fat, I don't recommend doing intermittent fasting. I actually recommend just eating 5 to 6 times a day. Not walking around with 5 to 6 meals, but just eating 5 to 6 times a day in order to get enough calories. Because some people can't have those big meals. I usually have 1 to 2 big meals, no, lies. 2 to 3 big meals a day, and that's enough for me. But that's me, and I've got used to this style of eating. If you struggle to eat those big portions, then yeah, stick to eating more frequently and ditch intermittent fasting completely. So the number one reason I particularly started intermittent fasting is time. I just didn't have time to prepare the meals. I didn't have time to keep eating 6 meals a day. It just wasn't productive. It wasn't possible even, actually. I'm not gonna lie, it just was not possible. And secondly, what you find is it becomes a chore. It becomes a huge chore and a bane on your life. And for me, that was taking away the fun out of building muscle, getting in shape. You don't wanna be thinking about where's your next meal, or some people even set alarms on their phone. When I first started out, I set an alarm on my phone to eat every 2 to 3 hours. First of all, that messes up your gut. Doesn't give your gut enough time to digest the food, repair and function optimally. And secondly, honestly, energy levels are like literally every time you're eating, you're spiking insulin. Even if you've got no carbs at meal, you're still spiking insulin with the protein and the fat. Obviously less than if you have carbs in a meal, but if you do have carbs in a meal as well, you just keep spiking that insulin and you get these energy dips, which are nasty. Secondly, to be honest, I was a massive skeptic when I started intermittent fasting. I thought, I'm gonna lose a ton of muscle, I'm gonna get in worse shape in my life. But then when I actually started doing it and doing it over and over again, I've been doing it for over 4 years now, I found that it was actually a super effective tool to not only get in the best shape, to feel great mental clarity. When I'm fasted, I actually have extreme amounts of focus. The first few weeks I did it, it was pretty difficult. As with any single lifestyle change, any single habit change, the first few weeks, you do it, it's tough. Like, it's not just gonna be easy off the bat, so don't expect it to be. And if you've never tried intermittent fasting before, I suggest starting with a larger eating window, like a 10-hour eating window, or maybe a 11-hour eating window. You've got to think about it this way. Most people have some sort of fasting going on right now, unless you wake up all night to eat. And if that's you, then, and that works for you, good luck. But I ain't about that life. I'm not disturbing my sleep, waking up to eat. I've never ever done that before in my life anyway. So if you think about it this way, you probably stop eating 2 to 3 hours before you sleep, then you sleep for what, 7 to 8 hours, I hope, and then you don't have breakfast as soon as you wake up. That's roughly about a 12-hour fast anyway. If you just think about that. If that is you anyway, it won't be too hard for you to get to that 16-hour mark. Sometimes I do have a 14-hour fast, 15-hour fast. It really does depend on the day, depends on my day structure. It's got to fit around you. That's another important thing. It can't be a stress to you, and it can't get in the way of your actual life. Otherwise, where is the fun in it? And it's pretty darn pointless. It is important to remember that a fast is a fast, which means no calories, no MCT oil, no coconut oil in your coffee, no BCAAs, because they still contain calories and can spike insulin. All those things will kick you out of a fast and restart your fast, so you don't want to be doing any of those things. And again, like I said earlier, if you want to go into my 9 number 1 fasting mistakes, you can click the link above and watch that video. So fasting means fasting. You can have black coffee, you can have green tea. I wouldn't have too much black coffee, it'll make you feel really anxious and could mess up your gut as well, but you can have those things. My typical fasting day, during an 8-hour window, I'll have 2 meals usually. First thing actually I'll do is I'll break my fast with some collagen, some bone broth, or sometimes some essential amino acids or half a protein shake. Something nice and light to get the stomach acids going, to avoid feeling bloated and getting some stomach issues when I actually do eat my meal. My first meal will be seriously high in fat. I'm talking about crazy high in fat, like mostly fat and protein. And my second meal, being my last meal, being dinner, will be a really high carb, low fat, high protein meal. So I split it up. So I'm never having a tremendous amount of carbs with fat. You don't want to be doing that. That'll mess up your gut. But that's a different video for a different day. But all in all, 2 meals. And that's me. I'm having 4,250, 4,300, sometimes 4,400 calories a day. And I'm doing that in 2 meals. I don't expect everyone to do that, but I'm just saying to you, it's very possible. If you're doing 2,000, easy done in 2 meals, and you won't add excess body fat. Honestly, if you find it too difficult and it's too much for stress, then all I can say is don't do it. It's meant to be a tool. It's meant to be a convenient thing for you. I can't emphasize that enough, honestly, because if you can't do it, and you've tried for a few weeks, that is, don't do it. It's probably not for you. Anyway, that's enough for this video. I use 16 to 8 because I want to optimize muscle gain. I don't want to fast for too long because I probably won't be able to fit in enough calories and I could end up losing weight, which is not something I want. If you're looking to lose fat, you could actually do maybe 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour eating windows. Try them out, but first do the 16 to 8 if you've never done it before. Then you can play around with larger fasting windows, eating windows, whatever, however you want to look at it. And also, remember, I don't fast every day, I fast every other day. That's purely because I don't want my metabolism to slow down. And not just that, it's sometimes just not convenient. And yeah, it's to get the most benefits, to be honest, you can fast 4 to 5 times a week, but I specifically fast 4 times a week. But I suggest doing maybe 2 times a week to begin with, then 3 times and slowly edging up, but just don't do it all the time. You don't want to do 7 days a week of fasting consistently. If you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up. If you're new to this channel, click that subscribe button, hit that bell notification to be alerted as soon as I post a video. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on intermittent fasting now, so if this is you and this is your thing, then definitely look out for my next videos. If you have any questions, comment below. And until the next video, keep pushing those limits.